technician number 1723. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds of work left. Daily quota accomplished. Just a friendly reminder, your credit score has dropped since yesterday.
Beyond the system. So this piece does a really great job of painting the idea of this constrictive world in the beginning. It really sets the tone where we really understand what the world has come to, almost this post-apocalyptic world that it puts us in. People feel constrained, people feel watched, and people feel constantly judged by a point system. And then you have this man who was inspired by a bird at flight, and his desire to go beyond the system sparks him to make these makeshift wings. The ending, though, is interesting because it doesn't really give away whether he succeeded or completely failed. We see him obviously falling into the water, but just something in that very last shot, which almost feels like the camera is at flight, makes you think that perhaps he did get away. But what's interesting is in the same way that the bird inspired him taking flight inspired another, and we get to see that, and it feels like this will be a continuation of efforts and the start of something bigger.
Beyond the system. I really, really enjoyed this. I thought this was really intriguing and a really good kind of almost thought experiment of what humans would do if they just bought into the system and believed what they were being told, and they finally get to this place and then they see something that intrigues them. And I think it really speaks to human nature and human curiosity of seeing that one bird kind of got into his head and like really fueled this whole parallel path of like working after he was done with work, using all the time that he could, like sacrificing points or whatever to continue to develop and to do what he was doing. And then at the very, very end, realizing that for him, in just one of these little pods, it just took a second of seeing this other thing that he'd never seen before, this creature, this bird, and being that for as many pods as he could get to. And like I said, I think it really speaks to human nature, and I do believe that there is a tendency to kind of believe what we're told, especially by authority. But I think that that kind of almost blind faith only goes to a certain point, only, extends so far. And then I think it's very, very, very natural and normal and speaks to the core of being a human that curiosity and drive would kind of take over. And I think that this film is like a really great example of that, and it showcases it in a really fun and interesting way.
And beyond the system, we get to see this gentleman in this Twilight Zone, Black Mirror-esque world. And his job is to sit there and build these helmets, these machines. He gets told what to do, and if he doesn't abide by the rules or fulfill the order, he gets points deducted. And you see this moment where he watches a bird, and the what I can assume is the government comes in and takes out this thing of life, right? It doesn't. It does a good job in showcasing that this universe is stripping them away from their freedoms, and they're forcing any bit of life to have this sense of control. And so as this bird falls, this gentleman decides to rise and sort of start making these moves to recreate this bird, right? He's obsessed with it almost, and he gets points deducted for these actions. And then because of this, his actions get bigger. He thinks bigger and brighter, and he himself is then made into this bird and seeks out this sense of freedom. And in doing so, he breaks out of this globe that he's been forced into. He has been forced to be in this cage, and he is breaking free. And so he gets this chance to fly and give someone else the opportunity to go for their sense of freedom, therefore continuing this cycle. It only takes one entity to remember to make a move, to make sure you're living your life freely.
This film was called Beyond the System. This was a fantastic short. What I appreciated about it is the timely message. It taps into the potential danger of too much technology and surveillance. We as a society use a lot of virtual technology these days. Saying that, I loved the CGI in the film, such effective sci-fi imagery. The voiceover was also so good, clinical and professional. The tinny synth soundtrack and the pulsing beat work so well with the theme of isolation. I really enjoyed how the lead character took the role of a hero, a liberating figure, and the narrative also reminded me of the story of the nightingale, with attempts to replicate a real bird with a mechanical one. Awesome job.